Hello guys, welcome to my channel Bengaluru Techies. In today's video, we'll be learning how to install Visual Studio 2022 on a Windows machine. Along with that, we'll also be learning how to modify and install individual components or complete workloads, also how to repair the Visual Studio 2022, and along with that, we'll also be learning a pre-release version, how to install and stay ahead with the pre-releases. So let's dive in and start the video. Open any browser of your choice and search for VS 2022 or Visual Studio 2022. Click on the first link which you receive, which is the official link from Microsoft. Click on downloads. So the page should look something like this. And here within Visual Studio, you'll get a community, professional, and enterprise versions. The community is kind of a free version, whereas professional and enterprise is a paid version, which depends on your team size and the revenue which your company is making. Considering the video audience, I guess community would be the suitable version. You can click on free download under the community option. The download will be started. As you can see, the download started and it is of 3.8 MB. Don't think this is a complete Visual Studio. It is just an installer file. On double click, it will launch Visual Studio installer. You need to have an admin permission for the same. So you'll be getting a banner like this. Click on continue. So Visual Studio getting started. So this will launch a Visual Studio installer from where you can specifically choose which version of Visual Studio and install. It takes little time. This is how your Visual Studio installer looks like on the first go. And here you can start selecting your workloads or individual components. And based on your day-to-day routine, you can pick the workloads. So by default full stack developer, whatever is required, I'll be selecting those components. I'll be needing ASP.NET and web development. As you can see, as you click on this workload, these are the optional, and along with this workload, what are the components coming is getting highlighted here. And I also do Azure development, so I'm selecting this as well. And I also work on desktop applications, and I also work on multi-platform app development. And I don't need this, and I don't work on gaming, so I won't select that one. And I don't work on Windows, Visual Studio extension development, so I don't need to select this one. Yeah, but I do need data storage processing because I also work on database projects. This would be my choice of requirements for a day-to-day routine using Visual Studio. And as you can see, the total size required is 19.05 GB. And here you will get an option install while downloading, or you can just download full and completely install at the end. So whichever is suitable for you, you can do. I would recommend going with install while downloading. The both operations goes hand in hand. And if you want to install anything specific, so as you can see, the whatever the latest versions are there, those will be checked. And but in your system, you might be using .NET 7, you might be using .NET 6 and .NET 5 as well. So based on your requirements, you can go ahead and check those check boxes. I would also be needing .NET Framework 4.7.2. So click that, and any particular component you need you can install. I would be needing Xamarin. So I'll install this as well. Based on your individual component selection, also the size will vary. As you can see, initially it was 19.05, now it is 20.74 GB. And you can click on language, and any additional language which you wish to work upon, you can select. By default it is English, so I'm okay with that. So I'll click install while downloading. I'll select install while downloading option, and I say install. So it starts downloading and installing parallelly. So it takes a little time based on your bandwidth. As you can see, the download is still happening and it is continuing at 73%. By the time the download completes, we can try to understand the preview version. So preview version is such a place where Visual Studio comes up with certain additional features which they are going to come up in their upcoming releases, even before merging the same things, that features or functionalities to directly to the main system. What they will do is they'll release it as a pre-release or preview versions where interested people or like enthusiasts can go ahead and install them and try it out, and they can report the bugs. So with this, Visual Studio also will be getting benefited, and you also will be getting higher start of the technology, right? So to install the preview version, so as you already installed Visual Studio installer, you can click on this available tab and you can notice there is a availability of preview version. You can install this once the installation is done, or in certain case, if you're not seeing this particular title listed under available session, you can go back to your browser and search for VS 2022 as you did. Again, click on download, and as you can see, there is a option here preview. As you saw community, professional and enterprise, there is a preview version. So you can click on this preview and download the preview by just clicking this button. You need to also know one thing: once one of the version of the Visual Studio is getting installed using Visual Studio installer, you will be not able to make any changes to the existing versions, or you can't even install the upcoming versions. Like you here also you can see these buttons, everything's are disabled. As you can see, the download is completed and installing is at 96%. The finishing up process usually takes little while. And if you're keen to know what are the components included within this community install, you can click on this hyperlink release notes. It will redirect you a website where you can read about all those information which are included in the community release. So let's switch back to Visual Studio installer. So installing is done and it is cleaning up as a last process. So as you can see, we installed Visual Studio Community 2022 17.8.3 version, and you can click on this launch button, which will launch the Visual Studio for you. So Visual Studio 2022 is getting launched. If you're opening for the first time, it takes little time and it tries to gather all the information. Since I already have Visual Studio 2019, it tries to sync the account information which are available in the previous versions, and it makes you already signed in. But if you are installing Visual Studio completely for the first time, you'll be redirected for the sign in flow where you have to either you can skip the sign in for now, or you can continue with the sign in if you have credentials. So this is what's new, the default page which gets open when you open Visual Studio for the first time, and it contains all the information what are updated, what additional features you are getting. So anything which are new, those all things will be listed here. This is basically your kind of release notes. So let's switch back to Visual Studio installer. So this is how you install a new Visual Studio in your Windows machine. Whenever you have a requirement where you need to install additional packages, you can click on modify and select the workload, respective workload. For example, you started to work on gaming, so you can come here and select this too, and it selects all the required components, and the required space also will be listed here. You can click on, you can select install while downloading, or as mentioned, you can directly go download all and then install and click on modify. It will download for you and the components will be installed. Or if you want to install only specific components, you can come here and install. For example, I want to install .NET 5 because there are like few projects still which are at .NET 5. I can click on this checkbox and click on modify, and you can see the size, it is 493 MB. So let me do that operation. So here the thing you need to know is when you are trying to do this with the Visual Studio open, it will not happen. You will get a pop-up here saying that another instance is opened, so you need to close it. So either you can click a continue button here. So as I was mentioning, here is the thing. So here you can click a continue, which will automatically close Visual Studio for you. But there is a chance when you click continue, it will not save any work items which you have done. So I would recommend you open Visual Studio and save all your work items or commit all your work items to your repository, and then close the Visual Studio for it. And once you're done, you can either click retry or continue. It will do both will do the same operation, and click again continue, which is a pop-up to notify .NET 5 is getting installed. Once it is done, as you can see, the download is complete and installing is also complete. Since it is a small package, it happened very quick. So again, it is finishing up and it will clean up as after this finish up process. So this is how you modify the Visual Studio, existing Visual Studio. So there will be some instances where Visual Studio was working fine. Since by default there will be auto update is enabled. So Visual Studio, whenever there is an update available, it keeps updating automatically. So you might have noticed at the end of Visual Studio, will be getting on close, the new version will be installed. If you click OK, it will start installing. So there are some times where you'll get this issues. The working feature of Visual Studio starts breaking. So at that time, even Visual Studio is so much intelligent, it automatically gets its bug report. It will just ask your permission to submit that one. So if that is the case, you can switch back to the older version. How you can do is by clicking the repair option. So you can click on this more. Here you'll get an option for repair or uninstall. You can do complete uninstallation and install your new version, or you can click on repair, which will do a repair of your Visual Studio. As of now, there is nothing to repair in my setup because it is a fresh installation. Everything is will be working fine, so I'll be not performing this. But you can click on repair, which will, based on the bug report submitted and based on the issues they already received from multiple users, repair the particular component which is causing the issue. So I'll be clicking cancel. If you want to get higher access for all the features and upcoming releases which are happening, you can use preview. So the preview will run for a couple of weeks or months, and once everything is stabilized, then they will be merged to the main. So if you are keen in knowing all this new upcoming features and you want to explore, so you can come to this available as mentioned earlier, or you can switch to the browser and install the preview one. So you can click on this install. So the installation process remains same as I did for Visual Studio Community 2022. The installation of preview also will be same. You select your workload based on your day-to-day routine. So here also I'll be selecting web development, Azure development, and MUI, and then I need desktop. I'll be needing database. So whatever is required for you, you can come and select, and you can see the space again required space, and click on install. So here one point I would like to mention. So .NET has come up with something new feature called .NET Aspire, so which is very new, which is available only in preview. So if you are very keen to understand and learn about this, I already have made a video. I'll be attaching the video link in the description. So, but if you are keen to install this one, you can come on individual components. So if it is unchecked in your case, you can come and check here, and it is available only in 17.9.0 version or greater versions. So you can click on this install. It will install all the required components in your system. So let me click install. So the installation process started, and it will take a couple of minutes based on your bandwidth, and the installation will be completed. As you can see, the installation process is complete. Again, if you're keen to know about what are the components available in this 2022 preview version, you can click on this release notes and look into those things. If you click this launch button, it will open up the Visual Studio 2022 preview, and the modify remains same as explained for Visual Studio 2022 community version. You can click on this and either add the complete workload or the individual components of your choice. So let's launch the Visual Studio 2022 preview. So as you can see, the banner contains preview, and apart from that, you can also notice the preview will be listed here. And if you open for the first time, it will contain what's new. I hope the video was useful. Happy coding. Thank you for watching.